Okay, folks, I'm gonna show you this old house here in a minute. That's my great grandmother's house. We'll come back around to it in a minute. It was built in the 1890s. But first I wanted to show you a few of the old barns. I'll come back around to this one, show you this in a minute. It's where they've cooled down the milk in one room and the smokehouse was the other side. This is the old grade B dairy here. I'll walk you through it in just a minute. They were running that in the 50s and 60s and into the 70s when I was a kid. And this barn right here is a barn that my great grandfather built in the 40s. They bought this place in 1943, this property in 1943, and he built this barn for them. The new owner is going to be putting new side, well, not new side. He's got some old barns that he's torn down off their place, and they're moving, and they're going to restore this with old barn wood. But that loft used to put square bales of hay up there and store hay up there. Up there in the loft. And you can see the saw kerf on these old boards, a circular saw. A lot of old heart pine in this building. At one time they would raise hogs. And they kind of got out of that. And I find it ironic that now have wild pigs here. You can see some of the old damage where pigs were in here. The backside of the old barn. Old plows and stuff in here. Loft access, not too good anymore. So this is the old dairy barn. Cows would come in that end. They'd come in, stick their head in these stanchions, for example, like right here. Stick the head in here, they'd close it off. And that was to have, actually I think it went like this. I think they would let them in there and then they'd close it and then close this behind them and they couldn't pull out. And there was feed in there, so they wanted to eat, so they'd come in here and eat, and then they would milk them. And they had I guess they sold all the old milking machines, but they had it was a stainless steel, probably about a 4 or 5 gallon stainless steel thing, a round thing with a handle on it that they would slip that handle into a harness that was around the cow's back. And then they would milk the cow, and then they'd take that to the old milk room, which I'll show you in a minute, and pour it into one of the old style milk cans. And I'll show you one of those here directly. All right, so this is the outhouse. My great grandmother in the 70s did not have any running water. Didn't have a toilet or nothing, didn't have a bathroom. And this is what she used. And this, when I was down here, this is what I used. Of course, I was, 7, 8, 9 years old. I didn't care. Novel thing. But 2-seater, generally, I never knew anybody to be in here at the same time. So generally, I always use this side, but they always kept a roll of toilet paper. And I kid you not, they also had a Sears and Roebuck catalog in here. And the older folks would a lot of times tear pages off that and use it. And the younger folks like myself would use toilet paper. So this old outhouse has been standing a long time. They were using it well before the 70s. It's leaning backwards a little bit and the front door's missing off of it, but it served its purpose for a long time. All right, I'm gonna show you the smokehouse right now. This is the old smokehouse. And this smokehouse was not in use. They were not smoking their own meat when I came along. I was born in 1969, and my first memories of this place are probably 73 when I was playing. I'd come out here and play. My great-grandmother would watch me sometimes, and I'd play in the yard and have a blast. These irises my great-grandmother planted. I'm gonna have to see if I can't get some of those bulbs, and there's some daffodils around here too. So that's the smokehouse, and that's the milk cooler room. The old style milk cans. I don't know, 25 gallon, 30 gallon cans. And that cooler had water in it, and they'd put the cans off in that cold water. It had some kind of compressor on it that would cool the water down. And I remember during the summer they'd put watermelons in there to cool them down. Man, they were some kind of good. And here is the old smokehouse. It's got some junk in it right now. That box right there, that is salt. That's about, I'm gonna give you some scale, that's my foot. That's about a 3 foot by 3 foot, something like that, full of salt. And they would put the hams and the bacon and everything else in there and cover them up. They'd kill a hog usually around Thanksgiving or something, when it was cool, and they would cure it and salt cure it. That's what they did. Believe it or not, thing was last used in the 60s. Okay, that's that salt box. That's all salt right there, all hard salt now. That is a slab of bacon, believe it or not. Still hanging on the hook. Slab of bacon. Well, that may be ribs. It's actually hard to tell. It may be a slab of ribs instead of bacon. I was thinking it was bacon, but it's probably ribs. Anyway, so they would salt it in there, hang it on these hooks, build a fire, and run smoke through the top, and cure it like that. And this stuff lasts a long time, obviously. It's so salty, a lot of critters won't even touch it, obviously. That's what's going on there. So this is my great-grandmother's house. I've been told that it dates to approximately 1890. I'm gonna come around here, show you the front of it. These are the milk cans. Right there. That's the old style milk cans I was talking about. And I'm picking up some of the old stuff from the farm. I'm gonna have them as display pieces in my new farm. It's kind of like cutting my arm off, getting rid of this place, but I also know that, you know, time marches on, and sometimes it's better to own a piece of property that you can live on and take care of than, you see all that? Just hadn't had the time. But if I was living on this place, it wouldn't look like this. And that's the problem. So, anyway, well, I appreciate you watching. Just want to make a video that maybe my grandkids will want to see one day. See what the old farmstead looked like. So, we appreciate everybody watching. Stay tuned for more management videos.